Spurs bros, welcome into episode 32. It's a miracle. Memorial Day, Sean Elliott episode coming at you quick. We've got a very special guest. Evan Townsend joins the pod. Evan has sources and information connections all across the NBA landscape, but most importantly, he is a diehard Spurs fan just like ourselves. He's here to impart his wisdom and opinions and takes on us getting the number two pick in the draft lottery on Monday night, what he thinks we might do with that pick, should we trade for Giannis, all sorts of stuff that we're going to ask him about. So stay tuned for that interview. Hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of cool stuff to cover in this interview with Evan. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Episode 32.
Spurs Bros, welcome to episode 32, the Sean Elliott episode of the Spurs Bros podcast. I'm your host, Alec. These are my co-hosts, Reagan, and Stuart Lynch. Boys, what I want us to do right now is I want us to take a second to give ourselves a slow clap for reaching 100. That's right, 100 subscribers. Let's go, boys. We did it. We made it. We literally started from zero, and we're here. And obviously, we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys tuning in every single week and sharing the podcast. So we just want to say a huge thank you before we get into everything. So, boys, this past Monday, we're recording on Wednesday, but this past Monday was quite the whirlwind, I must say. For those Spurs Bros who are living under a rock, I always say this. Oh, my gosh, exactly. The roller coaster continues. Thank you, Stu. You're exactly right. For those Spurs Bros who may be living under a rock, the Spurs were in the lottery again, and we overperformed big time by 6 spots. We almost were this close from drafting Cooper Flagg at the number 1 spot, but we got number 2 instead. So I kind of wanted to just say, like, how are y'all feeling during that moment? I told you, man, I haven't felt that much of a rush since
basically
like Wemby, bro. Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember feeling that exact emotion, just the thrill.
Yeah.
I was literally in fight or flight. I could not, my heart was pounding and everything. But man, how did y'all feel? Number 2, I'm so grateful that we got it. But geez, tell me first, how did y'all feel?
Difference in this one, Wemby's draft, we didn't have another lotto pick. So I was hoping to not see 14 off the rip. Right away, we see 14 straight down, trajectory down. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yep, it's done. 14 and worse comes to worse, 11. 14 and 8 for sure, though. It's over. It's over. Boom, it gets to 11, 9. And then for whatever reason, at 9, I think Toronto got 9. And then I thought we still had to sweat out 8, but it showed us straight away. All right, San Antonio in the top 4. So I was like, sick, we made it. We're good.
Longest commercial break ever.
We're all texting, of course. Everyone's phone's blowing up. Long commercial break. We had to sit through with Wemby, and then lo and behold, not us at 4. 3, Philly. I stand up, heart racing. We're all going crazy. And then Spurs at 2 and said Dallas. Absolute bull. And who am I to be so mad about it when we were supposed to have the 8th pick? And now I'm so mad. Like, dude, we got 2 instead of 1. At the end of the night, it was a great lottery all in all for us. But to get that close almost makes it hurt more.
Oh my God.
Dude, that close, and it was to me, it was just seeing those final 2 options being us.
Yes.
And the Mavericks are one of our all-time rivals.
Yeah.
And it goes their way. Man, that hurt.
Yeah.
And then to see,
do they deserve it with
exactly.
Come on, yeah.
So
not only
the
our
fans
rivalry.
deserve it, but that organization and that general manager, Nico Harrison, absolutely do not deserve that to happen to them. The fans, happy for them. The city of Dallas is maybe on the road to recovery or whatever, but Nico doesn't deserve that at all. The other crazy part, like Stu, you're talking about, we were so close to that number 1. Zach Lowe was in the room when the actual balls were getting dropped, and on his podcast with Bill, he had Bill Simmons on. They were talking about it, and he said the first 3 numbers that dropped, there's 20 seconds in between each number that pulls. And after the first 3, so there's 4 numbers, right? Those first 3 numbers hit, you can kind of see, okay, based on this last number, 1 through 14, who does it go to? Spurs had 3 out of those 14 options to get the first pick. So when it came down to it, that final lottery ball for number 1, the Spurs had the highest odds.
We had like 20%, and everyone else had whatever, 6, 7%.
Yeah, they had.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Sucks.
Yeah, it was crazy. So we were so close,
dude,
so close.
Yeah,
and we're saying, obviously, we're on the other side of it. We're saying we're calling rigged big time. Oh, it makes so much sense. saving the Mavs. But think about how the rest of the world would have been calling rigged on us if we would have won it again, not only after Wemby, but then Coop. Sheesh, NBA Twitter's blowing up saying rigged. Spurs get blessed with Cooper.
Jeez.
It's honestly
Absolute
kind of a
bullshit.
good thing that it went to Dallas because that became the top headline story of, NBA rigged, and we're just classic Spurs just flying right under the radar.
Great point. That's a great point. Yeah, we literally got the number 2 pick in a super stacked draft class. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing to be sad about, but kind of like Stu, like you said, it's like we didn't expect it, but now that we knew that it was a possibility, now we're all pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on.
So much more of a dagger.
Yeah, so much more of a dagger.
8, I might have even turned it off, not even sat through the commercial.
Right.
But yeah, tough.
It was tough, man. And again, like you said, it was after Philly got picked or whatever. I'm like, there's the basketball gods. There's no way they give it to Mavs. There's no way. I was like, for sure. I was like, please. Sure enough.
I say we throw in the video that your wife took and sent to us of your live reaction during as she was filming you.
Oh, I will. That's a great idea.
I might censor that and put it online because
I'm doing it.
That is some true, genuine, diehard Spurs reaction video right there.
I'm doing it. That's exactly right. That's a perfect idea. So either way, boys, with that, we get the number 2 pick. We're in quite a predicament. There's a lot of options for us on the table now. Every executive, every analyst, ESPN, you name it, is saying Spurs are basically in one of, if not the best positions going into the summer. We have a lot of options at our hand. We can draft, obviously, whoever is projected to go number 2, which is probably Dylan Harper. We can do that. We can trade back. We can trade for a potential superstar, like we've talked about on our earlier podcast. Giannis Antetokounmpo, those trade talks are heating up. So we're going to get into all of that with our special guest here, Evan Townsend. So, boys, without further ado, we'd love to introduce you to Evan Townsend. We hope you enjoyed this clip. We hope you enjoyed this segment with him. We get into a lot of stuff, and we'll see you on the other side. All righty, Spurs Bros. Please welcome another very, very special guest to the podcast, Evan Townsend. Evan, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Doing
great. Good. We're happy to have you
on,
on,
brother.
Yes, sir. Dude, Evan, it was a whirlwind of a week, to say the least. It feels like it's been 2 weeks at this point, given what happened on Monday for the NBA lottery. What were your thoughts around that? What were your thoughts whenever you saw the balls almost hit number 1? But not quite.
I was just in pure shock because once it reached past, I think pick 8 or 9, the Spurs jumped in the top 4.
Right.
And yeah, it's just so wild. I think people were posting today some of the scenarios of how close the Spurs were getting 1 and 2. So we would have got Dylan Harper and Cooper, and it's just like, man, that's just like automatically like everyone would think it's rigged, and you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, but no, Dylan Harper is a great talent. A lot of people are just real nitpicky right now based off of their own biased opinions and who said what first versus what's getting a lot of traction versus somebody who they don't like. It's clear as day. Dylan Harper is like, I've said this on record. He's going to be the best combo guard in the league in like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Like if you look around the league, there's not a lot of good combo guards. Anthony Edwards is not a combo guard. Devin Booker, they tried that, failed. Who else? DeJounte Murray, LOL. Who else? Like, let's be real. Austin Reeves, like he can be in that tier, right? But he's gonna be better than Austin Reeves. So, these 6'4", 6'5", however you want to put him, because he's gonna be a true 6'5" in shoes. He's 6'5". Yeah, these 6'5" jumbo initiators don't grow on trees. He's pretty much like a taller Jalen Brunson that plays with pace. And like in terms of on-ball craft, like if he were to work with Stephon Castle and just say, "Hey, mimic my dribble moves," right? And Stephon Castle says, "All right, mimic how I shut down, get around ball screens, and mimic how dude, you're looking at the complement of the perfect all around guard, not just a shooting guard, but the perfect all around guard, minus the over excelling level of shooting.
Yeah,
like these guys are,
right.
Yeah, these guys are like okay shooters as of now, but both super confident. Dylan Harper's rim numbers, I don't have it in front of me. I'm so sorry, but elite. Elite. You think
It's like
Stephon
top of
Castle?
college basketball.
Come on, man. Like you think that Stephon Castle is gonna dunk on people with ease, with all that gravity alone, with Wemby and Fox? Man, the float game with Harper, just being able to just get the rim with confidence, knowing that he can finish with either hand, the passing lane ability. You're looking at advanced reads galore and the most wide open shots. Like we haven't even talked about who's going to be filling the starting lineup, but the gravity alone with two walking paint touches with Fox and Harper, and then Stephon Castle, who's a walking paint touch, but he's not like as explosive, or he really can't get to his own as I don't say creatively, but as like neatly, right? As neatly, like he has those power dribble moves, all kind of good stuff. He's mostly just speed and like the Euro step, the slow step
Yeah.
Euro step. But watch next season. We're gonna time how long Wemby has to shoot. Like he's gonna pull a Trae Young, shipping my shoulders, like a LaMelo, just taking his time. Like, wait, all right, now I can do it. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay, interesting. So so it sounds like that you're very high on Dylan Harper, and that we'll pick Dylan Harper. What I wanted to jump into at first was basically, you're seeing thoughts and rumors around Giannis, that kind of talk, maybe coming to the Spurs. And so number one, I wanted to ask you is, do you think that that's real? And then if so, who do we trade to get him if that's seriously an option? Like, what do you think a package looks like? I'm sure you probably know better than I would.
I would assume it definitely includes Harper, and there's been a lot of let's just backtrack. There's been a lot of
Right.
I don't want to say nonsense, but it's just full of smoke screens for the past week and a half. So nothing to even brag about, but I was the first person to talk about Giannis being 100% gone. And this was right after, like the Bucks posted Giannis's Instagram story, pretty much alluding to him wanting to win for the city because he saluted to and said "win for the city" in the shirt. That, in a sense, was a salute goodbye. Milwaukee has been paying Giannis. So this is what happens when a player is disgruntled. A player has all the power to tweet whatever he wants, to say whatever he wants, to allude to anything the way he wants in the presser, right? Milwaukee will literally pay them. Teams will literally pay their guy under the table money just to hush hush, be quiet, don't make our jobs harder. And that's what they've been doing for the longest time. For the longest time. How long? I don't know. Was that post included in that? Did he get a $1 million Venmo just for that? I don't know. But here's the
I
thing.
hope they're doing something a little bit more discreet than Venmo. I'm gonna go search those transactions real quick.
Yeah. IRS, man.
But here's the thing. When you imagine Giannis's perspective, they have no young talent, no second timeline. Kyle Kuzma is their best asset that's healthy, and Damian Lillard can't play for a season. You would want them to be in a better position if you truly did care about your franchise that you've been a part of since day one. They've helped you turn into the man you are. You've started a family here. You don't want your legacy ruined. You don't want these fans booing you. So what's going to happen? He doesn't want there to be an official trade request. He doesn't want to look like the bad guy. He doesn't want there to be any type of turmoil on his name. So when they bring him back, people boo him.
That makes a lot of sense.
He wants a statue. He wants a statue. So, him making it very clear, and I can't tell you who told me this, but this is the same source that has been saying this. Danny Green pretty much said this on ESPN this morning. He wants to win. He wants a dynasty. He wants to play in a non-taxable state. That's only Texas and Florida.
And Tennessee, but is Memphis really going to go for that? They've got enough problems to sort out with John, Jaren Jackson, and everybody.
That would be insane. But I honestly didn't know that. A shout to you. Appreciate you for telling me.
I might have been watching the same segment, and I think Danny Green was on NBA Countdown 2 nights ago before one of the games, and he kind of mentioned that Tennessee was that third option. But it's really coming down to Florida, Texas. What are the Florida teams going to do? So it's really coming down to Houston and San Antonio as the main two options.
It did come out earlier today. It was Scoop B. I'm not going to say no one's unreliable. And when you put out stuff as a journalist, teams will tell you, say, hey, put this out. He's really super tight with Kyrie, right? Scoop is. Like they're really good friends. And Scoop has put out stuff for Kyrie in terms of kind of controlling the narrative and markets for what's going on in terms of front office when he was in Brooklyn, and even when he came to Dallas when he first arrived, right? And he put out this article this morning saying that Giannis is linked to the Raptors and the Nets. My source told me that it was the Spurs, Rockets, and two undisclosed East Coast teams. And you look at the under the table right on the wall. Masai, I'm a butcher his name. Masai
Ujiri, I think.
Is like this with Giannis. They were super high on him, and I don't want to say that they butchered by not trading up to get him, but they were trying to hide Giannis in terms of. I know we were all not a part of draft Twitter or draft consensus talk 7 years ago, 8 years ago, however long Giannis was drafted. But Giannis would have been a draft Twitter darling amongst the consensus. But a lot of people were he was even turning down workouts, hiding from other GMs. Believe it or not, that's never ever going to come out. But he worked out for 10 teams, and almost every team wanted to work out for him. So I know that may sound crazy because there's a whole docu-series about him and betting on himself and this and that. He just wants to seem like the humble king that he is. That's really all it is.
Yep. Interesting, man. So what do you think a trade would look like if we do go after him, right? Like you said, I mean, it's got to be between Florida, Texas. Dallas is not in it. I mean, Rich Paul, I guess, according to news, has said that, hey, Dallas is not trading the number one pick. We're definitely keeping Cooper. They're drafting Cooper. So without that on the table, they really don't have any other draft assets to trade. So what do you think a trade would look like if we did go after him?
You would probably look at bringing in a third team because number 2, Harper, Devin Vassell, Sohan, and Barnes doesn't really intrigue me because the Spurs are going to be good. You don't want to give them our picks. We don't really have a lot of our picks to choose from. Some of them are given to the Kings. We basically have to allow the pick swaps that are like 7 or 8 teams deep in the next few years just to start that negotiation with Milwaukee. New Orleans is in a weird predicament with Zion. Maybe you can add him in the mix and send some players back to New Orleans. New Orleans and the Spurs have had good GM relationships. The Spurs helped New Orleans get out of the Devontae Graham turmoil that they were in. The Bucks helped, or the Spurs helped the Bucks complete a trade, I want to say earlier last season, and they returned, and they got in return draft compensation, or not
Mamu.
cash considerations.
Right.
And then Mamu as well.
Mamu.
So if the writing is on the wall with having a good GM relationship, you would need to make sure that everything goes well. So let's just do a timeline. David Griffin got fired. Zion is the representative at the draft party. That's a good sign, right? At the draft lottery, right? Good sign.
I don't buy it.
Cool. No,
Personally. I don't
good.
buy that as a good sign. Like Zion being there, I don't know that actually has a lot of weight.
I mean, they asked Zion to get off his fat behind and to not sit with his get friend. And
go eat some deep dish in Chicago. We're giving you a week off. Go eat some deep dish and fucking show up for us.
And Zelle, Venmo, hello, whatever they can do. So they got a new GM because Zion wanted to get moved to either Chicago or New York when it was really falling apart a couple years ago. They couldn't make that happen. So the Bucks re-signed their GM, and everything's going well with Giannis. Like he's not asking out, but more and more is developing. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Like there's more and more news coming out today that said, oh, he's now open to more teams and stuff like. You see what I'm saying? Like it's more, it's starting to unravel more, and people that aren't real sources. Let me talk about myself here. I'm not a real source. I'm relaying something for people that are too afraid to say it because they will get fired, and they get me the reign to say it, knowing that I'm not Spurs media, knowing that no one can tell me that I'm not a liar. And then 3, I knew that for a fact that this guy wasn't lying. He told me about the Atlanta Magic stuff. That didn't get reported simply because people were wondering, like, how did he know this? Like, I don't want to get in the way of people conveying business, but I'm using all my leverage to try and figure out what's going on here. And even like me tweeting at Ron Harper, I did not think that he was going to
saw that, dude.
He tweeted the same thing again to a random LaMelo page. So is that like indicating that he doesn't know what's going on? Maybe he doesn't want his son to be there. Dylan's saying all the right things. We're still in the same timeline here. Dylan's saying all the right things. He's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm open to play with the Spurs. Hey, this game is positionless, right? Cool, right? He's not being disrespectful, media appropriate. He's doing all the right things. You can look at, you can possibly look at a three-team trade. This is not any inside information. I've not heard this from anybody, but it just makes sense. We have a couple of the New Orleans picks. Send them back. New Orleans has three of the Bucks picks. Send them back.
Yeah.
Let's get Giannis, right? That's the best power forward available on the market. Let's see if he passes physicals. Let's get you a shooter. You want Devin Vassell? You want Harrison Barnes? You want some floor spacing? You're getting rid of Bobby Portis. He may come to the Spurs. Brook Lopez may come to the Spurs. There could be some, so if you need to fill out your roster, get rid of Kyle Kuzma, get rid of Damian Lillard, and make all these deals back to back to back to back and completely unload this team, you can literally have three teams work with you along the next month until the draft and make this happen. But everything has to fall into place, kind of like how it already is. And it can go either way. So so other teams are panicking. They're saying, "Oh, what's going on?" You can't be part of this conversation because as soon as you are, stuff gets leaked. People put out fake articles.
So one of the things that like with all these different scenarios in play, there's us, there's the Bucks, Pelicans, like other destinations, covert teams, all this stuff going on. It's got Spurs Twitter in an absolute frenzy the past 48 hours since the lottery happened. And one of the things that we've seen come out is like people are like forgetting who Steph Castle is all of a sudden. They're saying you don't trade Harper for Giannis. That's stupid. You should trade Stephon Castle for him. He just won Rookie of the Year. Play that up. Blah blah blah. So there's already this narrative that Dylan Harper is a better player than Stephon Castle and is going to have a better career than Stephon Castle is. What do you think about that? Like, does Dylan Harper really project to be a better player than Stephon Castle, who's named Rookie of the Year last week? I mean, it's not that cut and dry, is it?
So Dylan Harper has all NBA talent, has a really high ceiling, simply because he's a jump shot away from honestly being, I don't want to say unstoppable, but for being a 1A on a championship level team. That's what he projects to be. Stephon Castle came into the year, not that. As a Rookie of the Year and as a currently, people aren't looking at him as a possibility of being a 1A. So we don't know the outcomes of what they'll be, but they'll complement each other very well on our team. Is there enough usage for all three of them? Do they have to stagger them 1 through 3? Because let's be real. De'Aaron Fox, this generation's Tony Parker, starting level point guard, fringe all-star, 6'3", speedy, next to a defensive-minded 2-guard, first guy off the bench, replace him with a pacemaker, and you just stagger them all. Stephon Castle's never going to play point guard again. You can even bring back Chris Paul in the mix just to have a little bit of just table setting to make sure people aren't rushed in the wrong position. If you want there to be a better idea of who Dylan Harper is, you would probably want him to come off the bench and start his career because he would dominate second units. You're looking at probably the clear Rookie of the Year, not just because he's not starting, but just because he's dominating. Like he's having double doubles almost every single night, and if not a double double, it's 12, 7, 5, and 3. That's fantastic.
I was listening to your X space the other night on lottery night, and some people were having some crazy takes in there. I was just laying in bed for an hour and a half cracking up because people were already assuming like Stephon to the bench. One guy even said, now De'Aaron Fox is going to lead the second group. And you were like, whoa, I don't know where you're hearing that from and shit. So I was just laughing. I was like, what? I don't know what these people are hearing, why they're even saying stuff like this. But it doesn't make sense for the Spurs to bring in a Harper who hasn't proved himself for shit, didn't even make the NCAA tournament at Rutgers, so couldn't even do much in college. I mean, quite frankly, no offense. But why would we add another 6'4", 6'5" combo guard when our team is full of that already and we are lacking wings and big men so bad? Why would we take another 6'5" combo just because he's the bet? Why we already have Fox, we already have Castle, what are we going to do with 3 now combo guards
So let's go over the unique positioning. Technically, Stephon Castle isn't a combo guard, but he was asked to play point guard a little bit last year. But let's just go over the unique position and what every like championship rotation has in terms of balance. So the speedy, I want to say pass first, but balanced, and that can get you 10 assists type of guard because he has to give you 10 assists and be able to put the ball in the bucket. That's De'Aaron Fox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Stephon Castle's the starting two. Let's just call him a utility guard. A utility guard coming off of curls, 3-level scorer, not efficient at the 3-level scoring, but he's a defensive guy. He's a hustle player. He's going to get in your grill, and he has go-to moves that make him not unstoppable, but that make him a starter in every single aspect. Like he'll start on every single team.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Now the wing, let's just put Harrison there. Harrison is a little bit older, hasn't played small forward since his Carolina days. You can't start Keldon Johnson. You have to have somebody at least that is a balanced scorer, that is a good team defender that can guard 6'8". I would rather have Dylan Harper at this position or Dylan Harper at the 2 than Stephon Castle at the 3. But we're just focusing on the 1 through 3, right? So at any point in time, people will throw out 3-guard lineups mixed with a 2 tweener lineup, right? Like the Cavs will throw out Ty Jerome, Donovan, and Max Strus, right? With Jeremy Allen and Evan Mobley. Boom. Or they'll throw out a small forward like a DeAndre Hunter at the 3 or the 4. Boom. That's what you have to be prepared to match up for. That's it. That's simply it. Because you have your speedy guard, you have your shooting sniper 2, you have your taller either 6'5", 6'6" Caris LeVert wing, or they just replaced him with DeAndre Hunter, right? And then you can either replace DeAndre Hunter with the tweener big at 7 foot Evan Mobley, Depoy, or you put DeAndre Hunter at the 4. So that's the only thing you have to prepare for. 1, De'Aaron Fox. 2, Stephon Castle. 3, Harrison Barnes for now. Maybe Julian Champagnie if he's hurt, right?
Yeah, he's the only other body type who's 6'7", 6'8".
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Cool. 4. Now, here's the thing. I do not want Jeremy Sohan starting my starting lineup. I do not want him. I do not. I mean, that's not even a hot take anymore. He hasn't lost it, but like we have a point of attack defender in Stephon Castle now that can guard wings, right? His job is a little not hard. It's not harder on him, but we need for sure spacing. Like there's no like, and people are going to say true to Jamie Sohan now. The hitch is possibly gone. We'll see if this is a Ben Simmons moment or whatever. But
time will tell.
That's what I said. I'm
not
not falling into that Ben Simmons shit.
It's so funny just because like we really don't know. We really don't know.
We won't know until October or November.
Hasn't had a shot his whole career, then miraculously a month after the fucking season, he has a beautiful shot coming off screens, pulling up. We're like, come on.
So let me talk about that real quick. This is something I know for a fact. The Spurs only practiced together as a team, a collective, 15 times during the season. That's Eric Cullen's quote. I went onto the Eric Cullen's keynote at the Spurs Club last week, and he said they only practiced together 15 times. Every other time, guess what they're working on? They're working on their skill sets that the Spurs told them to work on. What is Jamie doing? Every single day, he's working with Jimmy Barron and the shooting coach. What were they doing every single day? They weren't tweaking his jump shot. They were not tweaking it. They were working on it so he can make sure that he is consistent with what he has now. And then during the summer, Aaron Gordon, Lonzo Ball, you can throw in Ben Simmons if you want to. They'll try, right? 3 months. You need 3 months to completely change your shooting form. 3 months. Because you will not be able to you'll change it every single time in motion because it's going to be so out of whack. Maybe like because Aaron Gordon built his own gym in his house just to be able to shoot and have his green light turned on, right? So is that what Jamie Sohan's doing? We'll see, but let's get back on track here. So I really do believe they have to trade for that starting power forward, and really that 3 and 4 is the biggest question. Because I don't think Keldon Johnson's getting moved this year. Keldon Johnson would have gotten moved for De'Aaron Fox if he wasn't clutch. Keldon Johnson didn't sign off on any other trade, and that's why Mitch Johnson's not clutch. That's why De'Aaron Fox is still on this team, and he's not getting moved because clutch is helping build this roster. So the Spurs need a true tweener big like a Nas Reed. Kevin Durant would be nice, right? John Collins is completely on the table.
So that's
John Collins is a Army kid.
Running that back.
I mean, here's the thing. John Collins is cheaper than Bam. You can just sign him and run and say, let's do it for now, right? Harrison at the 3, Keldon off the bench, Julian Champagne off the bench. If you don't trade 14, you take BPA at 14, and it's probably gonna be a combo forward or a tweener big. Carter Bryant, Rasheer Fleming, Ace Newell, like
Danny Wolf. Give me Danny. I love Danny Wolf.
Danny. I'll be honest with you. His game is fun to watch. Great kid, great smile. His tank is plummeting. He's had one of the worst combines.
Oh, really? Has he?
Oh, I haven't heard that yet. I haven't gotten into.
He very well may fall to the second round. So,
or you haven't mentioned the backup center yet. Are we just going to run Bassey back?
I mean, Bassey.
That's the worst.
The Bassey would be one of the best besides like Robert Williams and I guess like Xavier Tillman. He would be one of the best third string bigs in the league as he's heavily slept on. He's the 6'9", super dominant boulder shoulder bigs that are athletic, that are slept on rim protectors, that are good rebounders. Don't grow on trees. There's not a lot of people that fit all those molds Charles Bassey has. He just doesn't have he gets so tired so quick though. His stamina on 2K needs to be at 1.
Well, and that's Wemby though too, kind of low key. So we can't.
That's why we need a backup big.
Right.
So let's talk about it. Wemby, I mean, I don't have synergy anymore, and I'm so sorry I can't pull this up. But I would watch Wemby get beat up every single time in the post. Like just elbows in the chest, push off his spot, him tweaking his ankle just from literally landing the wrong way. All that can have impacts of being riddled or even just being just tired and gassed. But we're gonna want to see Wemby at the 4 at times. But you need here's what you need though. You need a fast-footed, true demigod type of big. It's a unicorn. Like these bigs are either 7'1", 7'2" nowadays, 250, 260, like the outskirts of Kaman Maluwatch, right? And I can maybe shoot the 3, but Kaman is not mobile at all. He had one of the worst agility lanes ever. Good Lord, it's like he takes a long time just to move. It hurts. I don't know what to think of it, and that's the Clint Capella build, but Clint Capella can't shoot, right? You need that Alec Sarr. You need that really mobile 4 that can play a little bit of 5, and that's honestly Newell. So I'm thinking this, man. If the Spurs don't have anybody in line, you have to go get a Brook Lopez. You have to go get somebody that is going to take 2 or 3 threes a game. That you push Wemby not to the 4 immediately, but you stagger them, and then you have all the options. Because Charles Bassey is a good drop coverage big. Cool. Sign him for the minimum. Cool. Mamu, I'm sorry. You're probably going to either like Detroit or like Brooklyn, honestly. That's the last time I checked. 5, 6, 7 million. He's not even a true center. He's a power forward, finesse big. Sayonara. The tweener bigs is where we need. That's why I'm not even high on Derek Queen, right? I'm not even trying to look up to trade up for Derek Queen. It makes no sense because he's the same build as Mamu, but more Sengun-like, but not as rim protecting. We need a rim protector. So we need a tweener big that could play the 4 and the 5 to rim protect Charles Bassey, and then somebody like a Brook Lopez, like the bare minimum. Like I'm not saying Zach Collins, but like the bare minimum, like the build of Zach Collins, like a Rocco Ziarkarski or something like that, like the bare minimum. You see what I'm saying? So those unique positions are all needed.
So while we're on the topic, then, because you might have just answered it, but is all that kind of what your ideal successful summer would look like? And would you even consider trading, maybe not for Giannis, but I mean, I guess Giannis would probably be the only one who's worth it. But are you looking back to maybe trade number 2, maybe to another team in the lotto, and just kind of maybe get a player in return for that? 2 to maybe Washington and get Bilal if you can, or something like that. Something to fill a need. Would we trade 2 for a later pick in the draft?
So 2,
or do you think 2? It's like Giannis, or we're drafting Harper basically.
1 through 3. If you're trading picks 1 through 3, that means you're getting an all-star.
Okay.
Right? So unless the all-star's coming to town for Dylan Harper,
wow,
we're taking him.
Yeah.
How likely do you think it is we just draft Harper and then run it back with who we got? Maybe let CP go or whatever, but run it back. We don't even fucking make any of these moves we're talking about. Don't get a bit we just let Mitch kind of feel his way into it next year. Which will put us probably at the fringe playoffs, which is not where we should be at year 3.
And then the moves are going to happen at the deadline. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that they're going to be, if they draft Harper, they're just going to like just stay where they are. They're going to make some moves and they're going to be really aggressive on the free agency market, on their and the restricted free agency market. Because if teams are saying the Wemby tax is too high, we don't want you to be a dynasty overnight because of us. Cool, fine, bye. The Quentin Grimes of the world. Even I know this may sound wild, but guys like Malcolm Brogdon, bro. Malcolm Brogdon sat on his behind all season long because he was told to. He's fully healthy. $10 million off the bench, a combo guard that you can play 1-2-2. He doesn't need all the minutes in the world. If someone's hurt, he's playoff ready.
He knows how to win too.
And like I tweeted about Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett has ancient ties with the Spurs. They were negotiating with him a long time ago when he was trying to leave New York, when all that turmoil was a thing. A long time ago. People forgot about that. Here's the thing. They would only be able to spend close to 16 million, and then their full MLE. Now the full MLE, I don't know the exact amount, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. But if you don't have the main thing I want to get across is if they don't have a plan, if KD falls through, Naz Reid goes to Phoenix, Giannis goes to Houston, and they don't have a plan, and the West is stacked, their projection is still going to go up. Like we're going to win 45 games next year. We're going to win 50 the next. They're not like dependent on health, surgeries, and everything else going well. The Spurs are going to be in the mix for the playoffs, and they're not going to be in the play-in. That's the hope. But if they are in the play-in tier, and this is the worst case scenario, you're heavily moving off everybody at the deadline. You're being desperate, knowing that you're not on a hot seat. No, you're not necessarily on the hot seat, but the discussions of all the how long we're going to keep Wemby around, how long is this a thing, how long can we appease to all that is definitely starting to be discussed. And
you're saying Devin, Jeremy, Keldon, all of them, sayonara.
Devin, Jeremy, and for sure Barnes, because Barnes has 1 year left on his
Harrison has 1 year,
yeah.
Interesting, man. Now, here's what I'm thinking. We talk about, again, going back to Dylan Harper, best available talent, number 2, and then we just talked about we need a big, kind of, and what are we going to do there? But what I'm not hearing as well is shooting, right? Basically, the only shooters we got are Wemby, who's streaky, but definitely raises his percentages quite dramatically from year over year, and then also Harrison Barnes. Other than that, you've got De'Aaron Fox, who can definitely he's a mid-range guy now. He shoots pretty well when he's kind of catch and shoot right on the line from 3 and he can get to the cup. But like, who else like is on the team that's a sniper? We know Devin Vassell. That's obviously been a
Julian. You have Julian.
Julian. But is that enough? Like,
is that a playoff team if Harrison Barnes and Julian Champagnie?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's not.
Boston is obviously everyone can shoot on Boston. I'm just thinking of winning teams. New York, they're playing well. The Pacers, I don't know. Like, you've got these teams who've got multiple guys who can just kind of fill it up,
and everyone can catch and shoot.
Right. So I mean, is that we may be wanting to build differently, right? We may not be trying to go after snipers, but I feel like one more guy would be appropriate to be able to snipe for us.
So there's really good shooters at every unique position that are going to be above league average, that are going to be below league average, and are going to be right around it at every position. There's not one agency that doesn't want to sign with the Spurs, besides maybe Life Sports, and that's like Josh Primo and who else?
We don't want you either, brother.
It was Josh Primo and Dom Barlow, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I just think that you have to have at least one sniper if you don't have a league average shooter at that position. So if at your power forward you have to have a sniper, if Jeremy Sohan is the only power forward by far, like you need to bring in. I
heard you say Bobby Portis earlier.
Bobby is that tweener big that could definitely make a huge difference. Guys like that, you're looking at the tier drop off is insane. You're looking at Jalen Smith trading for him. You're looking at Who else, man? Like
I mean, that's why I
It'd be
keep on
like
going back to
a
Nas Reed. That's what I'm keep on thinking
I
about Nas
Jeremy
Reed.
Grant.
yeah, Jeremy. So Jeremy Grant has embraced Portland like no other.
Right.
There's Danny Avita, who also comes with some like, some online issues
Huh.
at the 3 and the 4 that may come available. I tweeted back this guy just now that the Spurs called every single starting caliber center on the market, right as they were calling every single starting caliber point guard. So they definitely called DeAndre Ayton. They definitely did inquire about him and about how much he would cost, knowing that they have Klingon and Robert Williams. He was linked to the Spurs when they were trying to trade, before they were trying to trade DeJounte. So that was a thing. But, anyone on the lines of that type of scenario where a former number one overall pick is just the odd man out in a state where nobody wants him, and the Spurs can just swoop him, like that would make me happy. Like even though Wimby's going to be the 4, I know that sounds crazy, but like you're looking at one of the best rebounders, one of the best weak side rim protectors in Wimby. You just need a true 3-and-D sniper. I would start Carter Bryant. I would start Carter Bryant at the 3. I don't care with Stephon Castle and Fox and Harper coming off the bench. I truly would not care. Like I would just say run it. That would be that would I know that's the most 2K like lineup, and that's not going to be a thing, but you guys have to think about how much money is being put into players that could be moved later on versus players that want to be here.
Right.
And if you can raise your floor, and if you can't promise your team you're gonna make the playoffs next year, you have to get a little crazy. You have to get a little desperate. You have to make a move that just shows your franchise player, hey, we're actually trying to make something happen here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, man. No, that's really interesting. Well, after all that we've said, it sounds like there's a lot that is going to unfold over the summer, over the next couple of months. The picture will become clear. I'm sure rumors galore will be happening. I'm sure you're gonna try to cut through the BS, cut through the noise there for us, Evan. But we know one thing's for sure is that we've got a great problem to have, a great problem to solve. I'll say, right? It's a problem, right? Because it's like, well, what do we do with number 2? But it's something that I like. It's a great position to be in, and I know we're going to pick the right thing. I trust in our front office. So, man, this is going to be fun. We've got Wemby on our team. We got Steph Castle. We've got De'Aaron Fox. We've got maybe Dylan Harper. If not, we've got future assets or a superstar maybe coming our way. I like where we stand. I'll just say that much. But man, that's all we had for you, Evan. Thank you so much for being on, and we appreciate the back and forth. We'd love to have you back, especially as the NBA draft comes around in June, and then as free agency kind of pops back up in July. We'd love to have you again, bro.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys.
Oh, hey, for everybody listening right now, Evan on Twitter is at Ev Towns. That's at EV Towns on Twitter. Go give him, or on X. Go give him a follow. Like we talked about, like Stu said, he puts out these awesome spaces from time to time on the stuff that he's hearing. He's tapped in with sources around the league. Like you said, he's not an official source, but he's not afraid to put that stuff out there. So yeah, like Alex said, man, we really appreciated having you on, and let's keep in touch as things get closer to the actual draft and free agency.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Feel free to holler at me anytime. I got you on.
For
100%,
sure.
man. All
We'll
right,
talk to you
man.
soon. All right, that was Evan Townsend coming on the pod. Lots of stories, information, opinions flying left and right. We hope you guys enjoyed that. Definitely going to have Evan back on at a later date. He's real connected throughout the Spurs world, so that was a lot of fun having him on. But hey, just kind of a PSA before we wrap up here. The draft is in 6 weeks. And this is smokescreen season
Yep.
between Giannis, between trades, picks, prospects, rumors, all sorts of things. This is going to be a test of fortitude for the Spurs fan base over the next 6 weeks here, because our name is going to be in every single rumor, headline, thought piece, whatever, first take that you can possibly think of. And it's going to be, a collective effort for us to try to filter through the BS and figure out what the truth is and what we can really look forward to. But I don't know if you guys have anything to say on that, of like what you feel good about or what you don't. 2 days after the lottery. But for me, I just think it's like like my opinions have already changed. I might
Same.
I might already be out on Giannis coming to the Spurs.
Low key. Low key.
So
Stu's
Don't be.
like,
not.
Don't be.
Well,
bro, I
dude.
tweeted out on Monday, Giannis is a Spur, and like here I am 48 hours later. I'm like, I don't know if I want
Dude,
Giannis
that's how it
anymore.
has been all over X. We get number two, and now we don't need Giannis anymore. In what world does the team not need Giannis? First off, but it's
Well,
crazy how just it changed so much getting number two. So, like you said, Reagan, smoke screens. We'll have to wait and see till lotto night till draft night most likely what actually goes down.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, we'll be back next week. Like we said, we are not stopping with these episodes. We're coming out each and every week.
Oh, yeah.
Try to filter through everything. But until then, hit like, subscribe to the pod, tell a friend, and from the Spurs Bros, go Spurs, go.